So in this segment, we're going to be discussing Labour's not bad policies on Brexit and the EU, and it's taken a long time for them to come up with anything decent. Not massive into specifics, and I do have some minor issues, but this is a lot more positive than what we saw, I think, about 6 or 7 months ago. I know people will cry and say, "Oh, but what about rejoining the EU?" Like that, it's not going to happen. Like, we've been over this, guys. We've been over this.
Any government serious about growth and improving the supply-side capacity of our economy needs to fix the mess that is this government's Brexit deal and forge a closer trading relationship with the European Union.
So when you talk about supply side issues, you're talking a lot about import problems that we're having because of customs checks and other things. So, imports have gone up dramatically in price. Logistics are another huge problem because of this, and because there are less kind of EU lorry drivers coming here because it takes forever for you to get out. The other problem that they face is the lack of staff as well. I don't know how Labour are going to address that. You could argue that's another supply side problem.
Look at the reality. Our agriculture and our food industries rely on trade right across Europe. But we have a deal that doesn't even include a veterinary agreement.
That's true. We don't have a veterinary agreement, and that causes a lot of problems. It's going to be really awkward when I keep pausing this, but we don't have an agreement when it comes to these things, and it causes a lot of problems at the border. It's very expensive to keep getting these vet certificates, amongst other things, and it's causing endless problems with farming and fishing. So yeah, she's right.
We are pioneers in creative industries, but we have a deal that ties them in knots over visas. We are the second largest.
With the creative industry, she's right about that. We did cover it last year, where a lot of a lot of service producers, I don't know if that's the correct phrase, have had issues going to the EU, and some of them are apparently working illegally because they don't have the right credentials. But for the ones that do small services in different EU member states, it's a nightmare. I don't know if we're pioneers in the creative industry, but for musicians, for artists, for so many other kind of creative services, they've had endless problems, especially the ones that do touring. They've had endless problems because of Brexit.
Exporter of services anywhere in the world. But we have a deal that doesn't include the mutual recognition of professional qualifications.
So this is one I was a bit mixed on, because I wasn't sure if the EU were going to give something like that. But then, based on a conversation I had with some people, what they said it would make it easier if we had mutual recognition of standards for the EU to poach kind of top British kind of official, workers in these industries that provide services. So it would make it easier with mutual recognition of standards for kind of British people to get poached. I guess it would work both ways, but again, interesting.
And we have the best universities in Europe, but we have a deal that cuts us out of the Horizon research programme.
Technically, that's not true. Horizon was baked into the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, I believe. The problem was we played stupid over the Northern Ireland Protocol, so the EU basically didn't allow us into Horizon because it was an agreement in principle, which means, it's not a guarantee. So technically, she's not 100% correct there, but I am being pedantic.
So we will fix the holes in the government's patchwork Brexit deal, and instead of picking needless fights with our nearest and largest trading partners, we will work together with our neighbours and our allies to get a deal that works for the British economy. That is what it means to stand up for the national interest.
So it's not bad. It's a lot better than I thought it'd be. I'll be honest. I know about the vet stuff. That was that's something they've been talking about for, I think, the best part of a year. Getting an agreement on mutual recognition of standards for service people. That's great. So there's a lot of good things here. The problem is these are short-term fixes. I don't know how much of this is still on the table from the EU, but hopefully is. A veterinary agreement would resolve a lot of issues with the Northern Ireland Protocol as well. It's not a guarantee that the DUP will go back to the table, but it will get rid of a lot more of the checks, of goods going from GB to NI. My only concern is these are short-term fixes, that they can do very easily within a couple of years, really. But the problem is, what do you do after that? And they haven't set the framing that they can go beyond these kind of minor agreements that will help with trade, which will help with exports and things like that. But it's not enough to kind of push the growth that we really need as a country. Because we know the barrier is we can't rejoin the single market. That's not going to happen. So between that and where we are now as a third country, what can we do in that kind of gap, in that no man's land? These are kind of the questions that I'm asking the audience. I'm sure Son of Viking, amongst other people, have some good comments about it, but that's where Labour really need to push. Their big problem is Mortgage Man, the target voter, going to be happy about this? I don't know. Have Labour focus group this enough? Because that's what they seemingly love to do. I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.